Hey there, StarCraft fans. It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Today it's going to be a match between Flash and Jangbi here on Luna, right side of the map. Well, right top-ish side of the map. It is the yellow Protoss player. It is Jangbi, one of the 6 dragons. The 6 best Protoss players of all time for Brood War. And in the bottom right hand of the map, we have the best Terran player of all time. It is the red Terran player. It is Flash. All right, man. This was sent to me by Straylock, not the Straylock. I assume he is a fan of the player Straylock, though, because why would you name yourself Straylock if you weren't a fan of Straylock, right? Alrighty then. So this is Luna. Got a Kakaru flying around over here. Kakaru, Kakaru. That's what they say. Because this is a shared universe with Pokemon. Probe Scouting. Here is Jangbi. Man, this Protoss player is so very good. So very good. I cast a game of his with Killer back in 2018, September, so just about a year ago. And yeah, man, he was very, very impressive in that PvZ. We'll see how he is at PvT. Gateway first here. No cannon rushing, and yeah, Flash isn't even SCV scouting, so there's no pressure from him as well either. So there's a simple macro game here, and place your bets now. Who's going to win, Flash or Jangbi? Now, I've been told time and time again that Protoss is favored in PvT in the Brood War unless Flash is involved, and then he makes it look like Terran is overpowered. So we'll see how it goes. It's mostly just his macro. He can get more tanks out faster than anybody else in the history of Terran, it feels like. It's just somebody else is going to have 5 or 6 tanks, and he's got 12 or 13, and suddenly that's a lot harder to deal with if you're Protoss. Scouting the absolutely wrong way, by the way, here is Jangbi. So he's just doing standard stuff. Going for Cybernetics core. He's got his gas coming in. Both players are working on their gas income. Vespene geysers happily puffing away there. SCV coming out, it looks like maybe to expand. About 200 minerals in the bank. Could have enough resources to do so in just a couple minutes, but maybe poking around to make sure there's not like a proxy gateway here, or maybe some cannons coming up outside of his natural base. Either way, he's playing it really safe and also scouting the perfectly incorrect way, unfortunately. So the probe gets out earlier, which means the probe can be here and actually harass the construction of this factory if he wants to, and I bet he does. I bet he does. He'll scout first. Oh, just kidding. There's a Marine. Never mind. That's not going to happen. No harassment and no scouting at all, as the probe already has to get out of there. But, I mean, if you see a factory coming up now and you don't see an expansion, you should expect some tank. Whether tank pressure or tank defense. And Singularity Charge is on the way. If you make any number of Dragoons, as you're going to, especially in a PvT, make sure you get Singularity Charge as fast as possible. Whether you're being aggressive with it or defensive with it, you're going to be glad you had it pretty much at every point throughout the game. It's just like Ling Speed, right? You just get it. It's an upgrade you're always going to get. Zealots with their speed too. Range and speed upgrades are generally considered very good. If there's anything in the game that you use, right? I'm not saying you make one of them. Like you make one Dragoon for some reason in a matchup, you're not going to get a Singularity Charge. But if you're making a bunch of anything and there's an upgrade that will make it faster or shoot further, yeah, you're going to get that upgrade. It's a great upgrade. It just is. Alright, Dragoon defending against potential SCV scoutage, which is coming across the board here now. And what is the tech going to be? Robotics facility. Possibly some special tactics with some shuttles here out of Jangbi. I don't know. We'll have to see what that production tab shows us a little bit later. We have workers up here too. God, worker tab. I'm so happy we have this information available to us. It just, thank you. Thanks for listening, people who make the StarCraft remastered replay interface or live casting interface, whatever it happens to be. I really do appreciate that. I don't know if I actually talked about this on the channel, because I usually have about a week buffer, so the whole China thing happened a week ago, and this is the first time I'm casting that's actually part of, like, since I heard the news. Anyway, what I'm trying to say here is, it sucks. It really does. It makes me mad that Blizzard basically immediately bowed to China over this Hearthstone thing. Well, Hearthstone specifically related to Hong Kong. As near as I can tell, it just basically boils down to China is not allowed to extradite Hong Kong citizens back to the mainland. As this Marine tank army pushes up here, does some pretty good work against these Dragoons, but the kiting is pretty fantastic here too from Jangbi. Not losing any of the Dragoons here yet. A couple Marines do go down, so that's a victory for the Protoss player, but still pushing. And now retreating to the safety of another Dragoon here. They've got the range, which is really nice stuff. Spider Mines are done from Flash 2. He's expanding behind this. He might be ahead based on the pressure and the expanding behind it we're seeing, but... So bottom line, China just said, no, screw you. We want to be able to extradite people from Hong Kong to mainland to stand trial for stuff. And stuff includes things like speaking out against the government, which I don't like that. I don't like authoritarian governments that say you cannot speak out against us, which I understand is probably the norm more than not, but come on. It's 2019. Let's make it happen. So anyway, there was a Hong Kong player that won a Hearthstone tournament, and Blizzard was very upset about it. Well, rather, China was very upset about it, and then by extension, Blizzard, because Blizzard, first of all, has a lot of business interests inside of China, and also wants to grow those business interests by a lot inside of China. So if this was a matter of, like, I mean, if Blizzard doesn't have the Chinese market, they collapse as a company, okay. Like, maybe I can understand what they're doing, but this is not. This is sheer greed. This is just them trying to expand into the potentially lucrative China market and just hurting their own people in the process and just not supporting free speech. And it sucks. And, like, I totally get it, too. Like, nobody is saving Hong Kong. The U.S., the UK, Russia, like, nobody's jumping in there to help out Hong Kong in the situation. They're done. They're not going to win this fight. I mean, China did say they would retract the amendment or the bill to allow extradition, which is nice, but they haven't done it yet as far as recording, at the time of this recording, so I don't know. Blah, it sucks. Anyway, Dragoons are pushing on in right now. We got 2 tanks, we got 2 Vultures, we got Marines, and siege mode is done, and now the Dragoons aren't really going to want to come in here at all. They are just out of range of siege mode. Look at how just perfectly placed they are. I feel like the tanks could fire to about this spot. Anyway, so that's it. I'm not happy with what Blizzard has done. I understand the practicalities of it. It's not like them standing up to China would really change anything for Hong Kong at all. I get it, but it'd just be nice. It'd be nice if they'd be willing to sacrifice some future profits to just make a moral stand. That's it. If you have any questions, I'll respond to them in the comments, because I always respond to my comments. You probably know that if you ever talked to me before. I read every comment that anybody ever puts on any of my videos at all. At all. It's easy. Just trust me on that. Alright, so we have a contain here set up. Expanding behind it is Jangbi. Got a barracks kind of checking to see if there's any shuttle action here, and there is not. Mater transfer coming down to the natural base for Jangbi. Flash has got a nice tank count. As I mentioned previously, he will have more tanks at a certain time period than other Terrans will. He's got how many tanks here? 5? 5 tanks at 7 minutes. Have you ever tried to get 5 tanks in 7 minutes? Terran people watching this, if you can't get there consistently, you're not as good as Flash, and you have some work to do. In fairness, we all have some work to do. We all do. That's why, I mean, that's why we play the game, though, is because we can get better at it. That's the allure. That is the allure for me of StarCraft, is you can always get better. It's a little bit of a chasing the dragon situation, although it's not really chasing a high you'll never get again, because it's more chasing your own excellence and doing something rather than, like, heroin. But, and bottom line is, that's why games from StarCraft, that's why games in the StarCraft universe are so fun, because it's easy to figure out. The basics are not that complicated here for StarCraft, but man, mastering it is impossible. Like, even somebody as good as Flash still makes mistakes during games, still doesn't immediately put every SCV onto the minerals as soon as it's made. It's, I mean, the vast majority of the time he does, but there are times he doesn't, and that just makes it a less than perfect game. StarCraft is really hard to perfect. So we're 2 base in it to 2 base in it right now, here at 8.5 minutes, almost 9 minutes. Just Dragoons and pretty much nothing but Dragoons out for Jangbi, which I can support. He's using his minerals, making more probes. He's also working on, there you go, Citadel of Adun. Shuttle tries to come in, but there are 2 missile turrets, and there's 2 Reavers in that, but I don't know if you're getting in here, man. He's trying, though. Whoa, that other missile turret, though. I think that shuttle knew it wasn't getting out, and if you can't get out, your Reavers are dead, so the odds of you getting a huge number of workers from this position are pretty bad, too. So pretty smart, I would say, to come to the front and see what he can figure out. Although tanks are covering this mineral line pretty effectively, dropping anywhere, really. That's more missile turrets. It's going to be really difficult to do. So Jangbi trying to make it happen, but being cautious, and that can definitely pay off more often than not in StarCraft, is if you see a situation that is not tenable for you or just not beneficial to you in any way, Just back out. Back out, maybe take a third. There you go. Third base coming up from Jangbi. It's minerals only at the 12 o'clock position. This SCV does manage to stay alive. Just, oh, exploded outside of the SCV range there. I can't believe this SCV is still alive. This is amazing stuff. I like it. How many Reaver shots have been spent trying to kill this SCV? And he does get the scout off anyway. That's exactly what Flash was going for. So he sees the third base and says, so I either got to take a third base myself or try to punish this, right? Try to do a 2-base Terran attack versus a trying to sneak a third base Protoss, which I feel like is pretty possible here. Good number of Vultures, good number of tanks in the mix too. Templar Archives now on the way from Jangbi. Probably going to get some of that Storm against these tanks, which in situations we've seen Protoss beat this situation, Storm has been pretty integral to it. It's been a lot of Dragoons and Storm, and obviously Zealots in the mix too. You can't just go straight Dragoon. You want some Zealots to absorb the tank fire and get in there in that minimum attack range. So Flash pushing out, man, and that is not enough of a contain to really hold against this style of an attack for Flash. He is down about 20 supply, though, which seems bad. But again, tanks are the great equalizer, even if you're down in overall army supply. It's not that bad because he's actually down workers, too, here. But tanks, they'll make it work. They'll make it work for you. You can have a big old maxed army. If you attack move into a tank line like this, you're just going to lose, even if the tank army is smaller. So dropping the Zealots on a little bit prematurely, but then the Reavers come in. All right. This is interesting stuff right now. Dragoons are getting a surround on this. The Zealots are still alive. The Reaver control is really good. Reaver takes down another tank. Another shot here. Wow. Jangbi just crushed that. Just absolutely got on top of that attack, shut it down in the middle of the map, and is now counterattacking with about a 30 supply lead in overall army value, which is really nice. Again, doesn't want to overextend, just is protecting his third base at this point. Looks like his Templar Archives is done. Does he have any High Templar in the army? He doesn't. But he's going to try to clear out some of these spider mines, at least until the tanks show up. But dropping more Zealots down here is working out pretty well. I gotta say, man, tanks, another tank going down. Dragoon's getting some serious hits off. This Dragoon count is actually kind of nuts. He's going after Vultures. Vultures are not pulling back, unfortunately. They're a bit hold position because the Vultures up here at the third base started going after a bunch of the probes and whittling down that probe count to a certain extent. So yeah, the Vultures need to pull back. More tanks in production, though. Again, 2 tanks at a time, 3 Vultures at a time. Storm is now getting started from Jangbi. I don't know what this SCV is up to. Maybe trying to take a third base, but again, when you're contained like this, it's hard to take a third. Vultures do get in. Ah, you thought you were safe? You thought you were safe, ya probes. No, you are not. That's a lot of probes down now. Now it's 48 to 45 workers. There is an advantage for the Protoss player, but it's not as much. Oh boy, these Dragoons, though. This tank count is being kept exceptionally low. Exceptionally low. SCV is going back to work, recognizing they can't kill all of these Dragoons anyway. Tank on the high ground sitting here with no attack upgrades whatsoever. No attack upgrades for the Protoss either. And nobody's working on him either. So I'm not sure what the upgrade situation is here right now or why it's a thing. Yeah, the spider mines are not getting anything done. There's an observer right here. The Dragoon count is absolutely nuts. Tanks continuing to show up. Dragoons are dying. Their numbers are not as strong as they used to be. Reinforcements are not quite here yet, so he pulls back just a little bit. The important thing here is that they're still mining from the natural base for Flash. If he didn't have that, he'd be toast, because that third base is up and running for Jangbi. 52 to 40 is not a good place to be if you're a Terran player. The tank count is 2, which is abysmal. How are you supposed to win a TVP with 2 tanks, man? 2 more on the way. That helps a lot. The spider minefield here is intended entirely to deal with the Zealots and maybe drag some of them onto the Dragoons and kill them too. Look at all these reinforcements, though. 117 to 75 overall supply. We are in a bad way. Oh, we are in a bad way for sure here for Flash. He's down in every metric, every measurable metric I'm looking at right now. Trying to just push him away, trying to resaturate his natural base is what it looks like right now after losing all of those SCVs. And I don't know what he does otherwise. Good golly. Yeah, I mean, these Vultures are just trying to get stuff, but there is great contain of Dragoons everywhere. They still don't have any upgrades. we have any High Templar in the mix yet? I don't see any, nor do I see any coming down, unless they're in this, and they are. So 4 High Templar in the mix here. Zealots coming on down to clear out, bam! Clearing out a few of those spider mines with their own bodies, which seems horrible. Anti-air here is not so much. I imagine the shuttle should be totally fine for a while. Yeah, Vulture's a little bit separate from the group, but the storms coming on in. Not enough energy, overusing their energy, but that tank count just again gets just blown to smithereens. Only 2 tanks remaining. Let's go ahead and make that 1 possibly. No, once again, pushing back. The missile turret does get the observer. That's nice. That is nice that the observer dies, but another was coming down to join the party. More and more zealots here, too. Those storms were beautiful out of Jangbi, and he's just absolutely keeping Flash contained onto 2 bases, and he's been here for about 10 minutes, it feels like. Again, just trying to drop units onto these tanks, forcing them into unsieged positions so the Dragoons can come in. There's an Archon in the mix. I assume these is a result of 2 of the High Templar that were here earlier. Taking some tank fire is going to go down to this tank fire, I assume. There we go. The Vulture's helping there too, but tank count continues to get whittled down further and further. There are only 3 now at the 16-minute mark, and this is how you beat a Terran, guys. You keep the pressure on. You keep that tank count low. I think it all got started when Jangbi won that engagement in the middle of the map as Flash was moving out. He kind of caught him unsieged. He went for it. He got the Zealot drops perfectly placed. There's just no way. I mean, Flash is fighting. He's holding the top as well as he can here, but his natural base is getting hammered. The Zealots are going after the SCVs. There's a 4th base for Jangbi up north and to the left here too. Sure, going up that ramp is really hard if you're Protoss, but so many SCVs have gone down. Flash spent so much time trying to replace those workers. He's at 35 now to 64 probes. I mean, Observer down. Nice. Again, small victories here for Flash. He's going to transfer some workers down. The natural, because his main is mined out. That's just, I mean, that's not a great thing. But he's able to saturate his natural base, because, I mean, his main is not happening, and the income is not good here either. So 55 to 124. I mean, I know it's Flash, and I know Terran is often not entirely dead until they're dead, especially if they have a decent number of siege tanks, but it's only 5. He had 5 siege tanks at the 7-minute mark of the game, and he's down to 5 siege tanks again at the 17. It just goes to show how much work Jangbi has done in this match. He's got more High Templar. He's got more High Templar. He just unloads them right up here, drops the tanks, and that's it. Flash taps out, storms the mineral line too. And Jangbi is your winner in 17 minutes and 35 seconds. That was how you win. That is how you beat Flash in a PvT with Protoss. The Dragoons were beautiful. They finally got +1 attack, which is nice. Just keeping that tank count low. Like, if Flash had managed to hold on to his tank count and he's got, 17 tanks at this point in the game instead of 5, it's a much different game. It is much harder for Jangbi to win this, but he kept it small. He kept the engagement small. He was willing to sacrifice Dragoons and sacrifice Zealots in order to keep that tank count low. Expand behind it, keep Flash on his back feet, and it worked out. It was just methodical. It was fantastic. I don't know when this was played. I mean, obviously there's a Kespa observer here, so I mean, there's a wide range of dates and times when that could have been possible. But Jangbi here taking down Flash pretty convincingly. I mean, Flash never got past this point on the map. Never came close to setting up some tanks in range of this natural base or the 3rd base. Vultures never really got in here either. Did kill some probes that were a little bit lazily transferring back to the 3rd. That was a victory that he got, but otherwise, not many victories today for Flash. It is rough. It is a rough show for Flash fans, but Jangbi fans and Protoss fans everywhere are pretty happy. Again, hit that like button if you enjoyed the cast, and let's check out the final score. It's going to be, 97,000 for the Protoss and 73,000 for Flash. End of the day, more units produced here for Flash. That's because Vultures are pretty cheap. And on the other side, still about 200 units made from the Protoss player. End up killing about 50 more than Flash did. Ended up losing about 80 less. Again, the math totally adds up. And then resources, because it was a 3-base economy to a 2-base economy, plus a lot of SCVs died, just favoring the Protoss across the board. And once again, the winner has a pretty dominating number here for gas mine, minerals mined, and total spent compared to their opponent. All right. Well, good stuff. Good stuff overall, I got to say. But that's going to be it from me today. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Go ahead, hit that like button Hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.